Hey everybody, my name's Drew, and today I want to talk to you guys about purchasing your first camera as a filmmaker. And it's a big decision, right? And it's a fun one. Purchasing a camera is super fun, and it should be. You should never be sad that you have to buy a beautiful camera, right? It's such a fun part of filmmaking, is buying your camera. So, but there's one thing you need to understand about buying a camera. Maybe you're new in the industry, maybe you've been in the industry for a couple of years and you're ready to take this step. Something you need to understand is that your camera itself will never get you a beautiful image. It just will not. For instance, my camera right here is a $10,000 camera with nice lens, nice monitor. For me, that's an expensive camera. If I were to just turn these lights off, these are $10 lights, by the way. Now we don't see anything, right? We can kind of understand why that happens. And if I turn these lights on, this is what I get, right? So this is coming out of pretty much a $12,000 setup, maybe more than that. Let's say $13,000. It's coming out of a $13,000 setup. We get this image. So I would much rather have a $500 camera. I could find a nice $500 camera, maybe a Sony a6500, and I would use that and use these lights, and I would get a great image. I would rather have lighting than nice cameras. My first point would be understand the industry, right? Understand how beautiful images are made. How do you make a beautiful image? Why do people shoot at sunrise and sunset? Because the lighting just looks beautiful. A lot of it is lighting, and a lot of it is know-how. How does the camera operate? How do you shoot in not so great conditions? How do you get the camera to look decent or look good? And that comes with being in the industry for a little while, having mentors, doing a lot of research, watching some YouTube videos, learning, right? It all comes from that. It never ever comes from buying a camera, turning it on and starting to film. It's never, you're never going to get a beautiful looking image. And maybe you're looking at images online from people's Instagrams or YouTubes and you're saying, I want to create an image like that. And they have a Sony FX6 or an FX30 or FX3 or a Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro or Pocket Cinema, whatever it might be. They have this camera, I'm gonna buy this camera, and now I'm gonna make beautiful images like them. Unless you know how to make a beautiful image, you will not make a beautiful image with that camera. Number one, understand the industry. Understand how to make a beautiful image. Number two would be take that $7,000 that you have. Now this is gonna hurt. It's gonna be a jab. Take that $7,000 that you have for your FX6, turn it to $3,000, buy an FX3 or a used cinema camera. There's, Sony FS7 Mark II. There's so many great cameras that you can buy out there right now. Ursa Mini Pro, you can get those for, I'm not exactly sure, but I know it's not as much as the Sony FX6, and I'm talking used. Sadly, there are no FX6s used right now, but if you look at these cameras used, you can buy a beautiful camera that is comparable to the FX6 for a fraction of the price. And when you buy that camera for a fraction of the price, buy some lights. I use Aperture lighting. And Aperture has a little brother company called Amaran, and they make very comparable lights to Aperture. And I would say, look at those lights if you only have a certain amount of money. And for instance, these are $30 lights, right? It's really cheap setup. I couldn't give this setup away. Believe me, I couldn't. And I'm getting a decent image for YouTube with this setup. Cut your budget, $3,000 for the camera. Maybe $2,000 or $3,000 for lighting. Buy some lighting, learn how to use it. Like, how do you use a light? How do you soften the light? Why is soft light better? Is it close light? Is it light that's filling a whole room? What do you want to do with it? And then when you start to use lighting, you start to understand very quickly lighting's limitations and now what you need to purchase for lighting. And usually that is more powerful lighting to fill a room or fill a scene. But a lot of times for interview style, like this kind of look, you can just get close lighting, put it right up above, and now you get a very natural look. And it ends up being awesome, and you can use a low powered light for that. A lot of times that's how we start with corporate work, close lit stuff, and that's awesome. The most important part, in my opinion, to making a beautiful image is the lighting around your camera. Now you might not be looking to get any audio. Maybe that's not a thing that you even want to capture, but I promise you, you will need to. Buy a decent microphone. You could look at Rode, Sennheiser. Rode makes cheaper high-end microphones. I think the NTG4 is decently priced, and you could probably find it used and get a great deal on something. I think the Rode NTG2, I think that's mad old, but you could probably still find one online for a really good price. So decent audio is super important. This right here is the Rode NTG3, and this is a great mic. Usually this would be up above, as close as I can get it, and that'll give me, in my opinion, the nicest sound. I am not an audio engineer, so I might be completely wrong about that. And I think I probably am. I think you're supposed to put it a little further away to get a natural sound. So I feel like number 4 would be a split one. And that's understand your camera, how to use it, and understand exposure, your color balance, everything that goes into your camera. Understand every part of your camera. Watch YouTube videos. Watch 1,000 YouTube videos about your camera in full, and just learn everything about it. Watch videos about how to expose properly for highlights and all of that. It will help you tremendously. And the second part of number 4, I believe, would be to get a good monitor. At first, when I saw people with bigger monitors on their cameras, I was like, why do I need a bigger monitor? I have the monitor that comes with the camera, When I got a monitor, my world changed. It did a 180. I'm telling you, it was incredible. I started exposing my images differently. I started color grading much better and started to understand my image and started to understand what I was shooting. My framing got better. Everything got better. And I wanted to get better after I started using that monitor. It was a very big inspiration. And I'm not the kind of person that buys things because they look good. I'm the kind of person that buys things because they help me to grow and they help me to function better and be a better video producer or be better at whatever it might be. That's just the kind of person I am. And we can go deeper into how to use your monitor, like with LUTs and all that, and how you should be really operating when you're editing and when you're viewing your monitor as well. So yeah, guys, that's it. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope this helped you make smarter purchases, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.